aNEk intros, right? I'm going to keep this. That's why the only reason I've said this is that. Uh,
Okay, I'm beginning now. Okay.
yeah.
Hello. Welcome back to Queen is Dead. I am Sanjeet. I have Dhruv with me, and today we have Ashwani back with us after I don't know how many months, but we did the Anubhav Sinha episode. If you haven't, heard that episode yet, so just go and listen to it. This is like a spiritual sequel to that episode in a way. But today we talk about aNEk, the new Anubhav Sinha movie, which just came out on OTT, Netflix, and most of us didn't watch it in theaters because of various reasons. But
I was
and it's
busy. I
not,
would have gone and watched otherwise.
yeah, and it
No,
was 15 euros with me, so I was not going to watch anyway.
fair
But
enough.
irrespective of it, it's gotten like not so good reviews in comparison to what Anubhav Sinha was getting for his last three films,
Yeah.
which is kind of surprising because the trajectory almost pointed towards a person on a resurgent path, someone who's making good films. But aNEk is surprisingly, let's say, poor. But we'll go with our initial thoughts first. Ashwini, you go with initial thoughts, and what do you think about the film?
So, I mean, before I discuss about the film, I would like to mention the fact that aNEk is
Mm-hmm.
actually Anubhav Sinha's most complex film, and I guess
Mm-hmm.
all the, I mean, we all are collectively pointing out at its failure to convey something, which is
Correct.
which somehow happens to be because of his idea that there is a complex geopolitical context to what he's tackling, but the solution is simple.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it is his idea, the way he has
Correct.
made that
Yeah.
film.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I don't think I would like to agree with that because the solution is actually not there. There is no obvious solution in sight, let alone
Mm-hmm.
being a simplistic solution.
Yeah.
There is no obvious solution in sight. So I'm not kind of accusing that he does not realize the complexity of the plot. Only thing is that
Mm-hmm.
he wants to do it in a way that it all the whatever he's taking up. A film is comprehensive. That is one thing there. aNEk is
Mm.
very comprehensive in
Mm-hmm.
that sense. Whatever he's taking up, it all has to converge to some point,
Yeah.
and that some point does
Mm-hmm.
not exist in reality.
Yeah.
There is no convergence.
Mm-hmm.
So uh, I mean, to begin with, I'll give you very simple logic here. The convergence is not there because it's not just a conflict between ethnic minorities of Northeast versus the
Mm-hmm.
mainstream Indian people, the civilization,
Mm-hmm.
which is, I mean, yeah, it is not just a conflict between these two groups, but there is a conflict between ethnic minorities there, between each other. There is a
Yeah.
conflict between
Mm-hmm.
ethnic minorities plus insurgents. There is a conflict between ethnic minorities and the migrants that are migrating from nearby
Yeah.
countries,
Mm-hmm.
Myanmar,
Mm-hmm.
Laos, China, Tibet, and Bangladesh.
Mm-hmm.
So there are so many conflicts into picture. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
and I mean, as a filmmaker, you can choose to focus on one of them, which concerns
Mm-hmm.
us: the North versus Northeast,
Mm.
right? The North India versus
Mm-hmm.
Northeast thing. But
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
you cannot ignore everything, because
Correct.
it will come into picture by default.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So there is a genuine effort in some sense. I mean, I'm not. I like I mentioned, I did not hate the film. Like
We are
it,
at that point of appreciation.
yeah. I was I was not dreading it. I kind
Yeah.
of was liking the experience.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
All the scrutiny is only political. The
Mm.
scrutiny does
Mm-hmm.
not happen on a very not much on the technical
Mm-hmm.
level, apart from a few points which
Mm.
we'll
Mm-hmm.
surely discuss.
Yeah.
So that would be my beginning thought.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Dhruv?
Yeah, I agree with a lot of what Ashwini is saying. I think, especially on the fact that this is his most complicated film, or at least it
Mm-hmm.
is his most complicated film, which shows that it's most complicated also. Because it's also his most confusing film, and I don't think
Mhm.
that's the same thing as intricate film. I think it's a very, it's this is a film that I think has so many ideas and so many, again, what
Correct.
Ashwini said about conflicts, that in depicting so many conflicts, it forgets to have one single thing that can drive it through. And
Cohesiveness, basically.
cohesiveness, like it has a cohesiveness, I think, like by the end there is
Okay.
a cohesiveness, but the
Hmm.
way to finding that cohesiveness is very, very confusing. And I think uh I, I think this is a film that is much better when it is seen in discussion with other Hindi films and
Hmm.
in discussion with his own three films that released previously. As a standalone film, I'm not the
Hmm.
biggest fan of this. And but that's not for the lack of trying. Like the
Hmm.
very, I think one of the things I mentioned was that it is kind of admirable that he is the lecture person in our Hindi film industry right now, who can get up and actually
Hmm.
question societal structures and people in power and etc.
Hmm.
Because we are approaching a state where, questioning itself is becoming a radical thing, right? So in
Hmm.
many, so in the context that way, I can appreciate it, but I think did I enjoy the film? Not really. But like, yeah, that's again, we'll discuss more about that. Go ahead, Sanjeet.
Hmm.
You clearly called it a poor film from the beginning.
No, so I, not that I like calling it poor in any sense or something. It's just that I
Hmm,
didn't enjoy it at all.
hmm,
More than although I agree with both of you,
hmm,
just the fact that both of you have given it tags like complicated, complex, comprehensive, I found it lackluster.
hmm,
I just didn't find anything that even stood out in a
hmm,
sense. So sometimes when in movies you see like four narratives going on together, there are like a few narratives that might not be, you'll feel like, oh, if that narrative was not there in the film, it would have still been fine.
hmm,
Here none of the narratives work for me, is what I'm
hmm,
trying to say. Apart from that, Anubhav Sinha, I was surely looking forward to this film. I just feel there is this hastiness in the whole filmmaking of it, more than anything else. Of course, questionable things, questionable decisions, like the politics of the film and everything. But on the making front of it, I just thought it's made in haste. Uh, it just feels like there were few decisions that were half baked and they just made up while shooting it. And yeah, maybe it's a maybe. I don't know if that
was
happened.
this production like COVID halted and all that, or no?
I think so. They started shooting it while it was they were still locked down, like partial lockdown or
Okay,
something like that.
okay, okay,
I think they
got
rolled in 2020 for sure, is what I remember.
okay, got
Because
it.
I remember they put out a poster late 2020 or something. They were looking to release it in 2021 December or something long back. I don't know.
Okay.
So I mean, I like the fact that Anubhav Sinha is that kind of filmmaker who's making these movies which ignite dinner table conversations and stuff like that. And especially like he was building his career like progressively, like you could see from Mulk to Thappad, there was like a stark progression. Although I know you guys don't appreciate Mulk as much and Article 15 as much as I do.
I still like Mulk. Okay, like I'm a bit down on Article 15, but yes, we'll talk about Article
But
15 much more in this, I think,
yeah, sure. I
later.
mean,
Yeah,
yeah, talking points. But I thought like Thappad was like in step in the right direction in all
yeah,
uh, you know, positive way of looking at it. And I thought aNEk could have been that because, and the way it opens,
yeah.
there's that one dolly shot where, that Spike Lee dolly shot with
Where she's like almost
she's,
out, like
and I
she's
was
flying
like,
almost, right? Yeah.
correct. And I thought that's a great way to begin this.
Mm,
And then slowly it just starts dipping down constantly and it doesn't rise up at all.
mm,
So the other thing is that there are few emotional scenes which we'll obviously like talk about later, and like few
mm,
scenes which in individual with individual aspects are very good, but
mm,
in the scheme of the whole film they don't work at all because there is no emotional quotient to the whole thing.
mm.
um or is what I thought initially, but yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, go ahead. Like, I think
Spoilers. I
spoiler
mean, for whoever understood the movie, because apparently no one did. So yeah, spoilers from now on. Yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Ashwini. First, you can begin. You were the one who actually thought that the film was working on a lot of technical elements and all that. So I'm
Yeah.
like curious to know how, like, did you find it confusing ever, or did you think it was easy to follow that way?
No, it was not confusing for me. It was easy to follow, but then again, I'm not saying it does work on perfectly, because you know what I saw this time, what Sinha is trying to do is that establish few trademark sequences, that so
Yeah.
that he can develop his own style of editing and writing screenplay. And
Yeah.
these trademark sequences sorely stand out in aNEk. Like, they were not standing so much out in Article 15, for example. And I'll mention this. There's a caste confusion scene where Khurana is discussing, more like asking what your caste is and what your caste is.
जाटव जी, आप दलित हैं ना?
जी सर।
मतलब इन लड़कों की और आपकी सेम जाती है?
नहीं सर, मैं चमार हूँ, ये पासी हैं। हम लोग इनसे काफ़ी ऊपर आते हैं सर, SC/ST में। हमारे इनसे कोई लेना देना, इनका छुआ तुम खाते भी नहीं है सर।
जैसे मैं आपका छुआ नहीं खा सकता।
जी सर।
ठीक है। तुम क्या हो?
मैं कास्ट हूँ सर।
कास्ट क्या होता है?
सर हम डिफरेंट होते हैं, हम लोग 4 वर्णों में नहीं आते।
मैं क्या हूँ?
आप ब्राह्मण हैं सर।
मतलब मैं और मोहन जी सेम?
अरे नहीं सर, वो कान्य कुछ ब्राह्मण है, वो सबसे टॉप वाले होते हैं। अब सर पर ही।
What the fuck is going on here?
Article 15, correct.
In Article 15, it does not stand out from the rest of the screenplay. It is tonally cohesive.
Correct.
You can say that. Here we have another confusion scene which is related to this regional identity.
आप कहाँ से हैं सर?
तेलंगाना।
साउथ क्यों सर?
क्योंकि मैं साउथ इंडिया से हूँ।
पर तेलंगाना तो तमिलनाडु के नॉर्थ में है सर। पीपल ऑफ तमिलनाडु शुड कॉल यू नॉर्थ इंडियन।
मे बी।
आपको क्या लगता है मैं कहाँ से हूँ सर?
नॉर्थ इंडिया।
ऐसा क्यों लगता है आपको?
क्योंकि तुम्हारी हिंदी साफ है।
तो हिंदी डिसाइड करती है कि कौन नॉर्थ से और कौन साउथ से?
नो।
सो इट्स नॉट अबाउट हिंदी ईदर। तो कैसे डिसाइड होता है सर? नॉर्थ इंडियन नहीं, साउथ इंडियन नहीं, ईस्ट इंडियन नहीं, वेस्ट इंडियन नहीं, सिर्फ इंडियन कैसे होता है आदमी?
It is totally disjoint. I mean, it is totally out of the screenplay thing, and it is just there to make this point, and it does so badly. I mean, it's not written well. The north and south confusion. I mean, it is not something that you can create confusion from, actually. So
I think he bases off his films off of these one few sequences only. Like the whole screenplay, like even in Thappad, I think in Mulk also there's that one monologue by Rishi Kapoor towards the end where he's talking about identity. Then in Article 15, the scene which Ashwini just mentioned, and in Thappad the slapping sequence.
Yeah.
For me, I think.
Which is the
best. And then the whole screenplay rides on the whole one scene. In this also, this was a scene, but I was like, where did this scene come from first?
Yeah.
And it doesn't fit in. Like I thought they just like put it there because they were like, oh, there is this breathing space here. Let's just put this scene here.
Yeah. I mean, the whole sequences with the second investigating police officer, like which have two long speeches. One speech which I actually think is quite good. I don't know if it's well written, but I was fascinated by what it was about, which is the peace and control, and equating peace with control. Which I was like, oh, very interesting. But like, I wish I would like see it in a drama rather than hear it as a lecture. But okay, whatever. Like the whole film, I think, is like tonally very off. And I think, it's very weird because with the previous 3 films, he's mixed melodrama of some form with this social message thing, right? Here, even the melodrama bits are really poor. Like, they don't have any impact. There's this moment with the Bihari character, right? The Bihari character. There is one dialogue that is there at the beginning, which is like, this ye thoda racist ho gaya because like he accuses him of saying something. That has a callback later on, but there's no like emotional impact.
Correct.
It's totally flat. It is totally flat. So like again, we should probably just go and discuss like just what all is even happening in the film, because there's lots happening, right? So
no, but in terms of being disjoint and things that stand out, another sequence is I mean, those two sequences that belong to Ido's character of boxing. Now,
Yes.
the match and everything is fine, but then there is this training scene in the beginning, and it happens with a rap song, and
Yes.
that was like, I did not see that coming. I mean, it
The Sunidhi Chauhan rap song, is it that one, right?
yeah, and I
That was
guess I don't know.
horrible.
Yeah, it was horrible. Like, it was also sung horribly, composed horribly, and
Exactly.
it's like you are doing a very bad homage for Mukkabaz. Like, you want to have a training sequence, and that training sequence was also did not also fit in there where it
Correct.
Is that the training sequence, Ashwini, in which they have she speaks in voiceover also? Because she has one voiceover, I think, in the whole film,
Correct.
where
Which
she's like talking about her ambitions and how Northeast
I
is
think
not.
it comes just before that, I think.
I was like,
Or
what
just
is
after
like,
that, something like
yeah, I was just, yeah, same. Like, go ahead on your point only. I was thinking.
I
about
mean,
it.
that and the same I would say for the last satirical surgical strike sequence.
Okay.
I
Uri,
mean,
the Uri.
if you have a thriller drama, I don't think you should attempt to satirize anything. No
Yeah.
matter
Fair,
where
yeah.
your political inclination is or
Yeah.
what you are trying to do. I mean,
Yeah.
you can easily cut off that entire surgical drama thing.
Yeah.
This is one thing that he's doing deliberately. He wants to, you know,
fully in your
mock.
face.
Yeah,
In
he
your
wants to
face.
mock.
Like,
So see, the thing is, I enjoyed it because there was before that I wasn't having any enjoyment. So I was like, okay, at least he's doing
I
something.
didn't care.
here.
I'm legit. I'm telling you. I think I was forwarding all of that in my, because I was blanking out at times. I remember.
Okay.
Like sometimes I was like, oh shit, now they're here. Okay. Now let's.
No,
watch
in
that.
the
And then-
in the Uri sequence is what we can call it, right? But like in that sequence, I was like, well, at least there's like that's what I said. Like, at least it's interacting with other media in a way which is very blunt and obvious. But like, I know, but like, I was like, kuch to hai.
But that,
Like,
yeah.
like
It's shot also
all-
like Uri only, huh? It's lit also like Uri, like the whole
yeah.
blue orange kind of tone.
I was like, theek hai, like, I mean, why do you need to do it? I don't know, but like,
but you
it's
were
fine.
you were recollecting all what happens, right? Go ahead with that now.
Oh, you're talking to me or Ashwani? Who was
Yeah,
recollecting?
you.
I'm the one recollecting.
You were going to recollecting, no?
Why am I given the task of recollecting everything?
Because you were just going to say it and you were interrupted in the
No,
middle.
but there's a lot of stuff, to be honest. But yeah, okay. So there's the personal stuff, right? So I think I divided into there's national conflict, local and district conflict, and personal conflict, all of which are supposed to like intermingle with each other throughout the film, right? It's kind of like that. National conflict is with this Kumud Mishra's character and Manoj Pahwa, who are the people in North India or like Central India, I say, the conflict is with Tiger Sangha, who's the Northeast one of the insurgent groups who's not ready to comply with them, right? Because of the peace, he's not ready to sign the peace accord because India for him is basically scamming them. Then there is the local conflict, like within the Northeast itself, between Sangha and the other insurgent groups. I think is it the Johnson insurgent group, right?
Johnson, yeah.
And then there is this farmers ka thing also going on, right? Simultaneously, or are they the Johnsons? Am I like mixing?
I think they were part of the whole Johnson.
So they are part of that.
Yeah.
Okay, fine. And then in each of them, you have like interpersonal relationships. And Ayushmann Khurrana is kind of going through all of them and interacting with them one-on-one and kind of failing in most of the places, which is, I think, one of the strengths of the film, that he comes across as a bit of a lost loser rather than like the Article 15 character that goes and does or makes all the changes happen there. So I think all the interpersonal stuff here is basically useless in the sense that none of it has any emotional effect. I think, at least from whatever I remember, because the love story
didn't get the impression only if they were dating each other, even though they were kind of hinting towards it. Then why were they hinting towards it all throughout?
I thought they were falling in love.
Okay.
I mean, I thought
have no
so.
clue.
at least.
No, but this love story will start from the honey trapping thing, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
It just
yeah.
so. Hmm.
There's
I
the
don't
love
know. It's
story.
interesting you call Khurana sad, not lost loser. I completely hated his performance, whatever he was
Oh no,
doing.
no,
Like
no.
he's
I'm saying
Not
character was like that.
performance.
His performance is
Yeah.
very weird. He's sniffing throughout the movie. I don't understand what
Yeah.
he's doing with that. What did he have a cold, or is that supposed to be a drug addict problem?
Yeah, I thought he's like just trying to add like a layer to his character, but even that goes missing in the middle for some time.
In the middle, he's
Like
not
he doesn't do
sniffing.
it. Yeah, so I was like, maybe if it's short in like schedules, they would be like, okay, so in the later schedule, he's like, okay, now I'm gonna try this thing types, sniffing.
Does this a lot also. I was like, what is this? Is this like, because he takes drugs in the beginning, right? And then it's implied that he takes drugs, but never like does it after. It's
so.
so
Are you
weird.
saying that
Maybe.
there is a continuity break?
Yes, I think so.
Maybe. Just an assumption, no, because they shoot in schedules, so they were like, okay, second schedule, he's
I
trying
thought
something.
almost all of his voiceover was added in post. Like someone saw the film and they were like, this is confusing.
is
We need to add
editing
stuff to
disaster.
make it make people understand what he is going through, because he gets lost. And it's a compliment, I think, to the film in some ways, that he gets lost in the middle of all the characters. He is not the main focus in some ways, I think, which
Mhm.
I think, again, is maybe the film's intentional, unintentional strengths. I don't know. But I think it works to its strengths. But yes, my point of recounting like everything was basically that you have this many. So there's the love story subplot, right?
Mhm.
There's the subplot with him and the one of the kids from the farmer group, kids
Mhm.
and his mother. Then
Mhm.
there's a subplot with him and the Johnson character,
Mhm.
and the Johnson character is the boxer character's father. So there's a relationship between those two characters.
Correct.
Then there's Ayushmann Khurrana's connection with Manoj Pahwa's character and how their relationship changes over the course of the film. So there's about
Correct.
4 or 5 emotional arcs going on, and none of them have a single. One maybe has. Did you guys think the scene with the mother was effective with Ayushmann Khurrana and the mother, or no? Am I the only one who was like briefly engaged at that moment when the
It
son
was
dies?
effective only because it was only effective because she acted quite good.
Yeah, no, that only. I
Correct.
agree. Yeah.
Correct. I agree with that only, because I think so. I wasn't invested in anything else. Like I was just like watching through it. One of those movies when you are like just like going through and you don't know what's happening. Kind of like that only.
Yeah.
It was that kind of lackluster because I was like not interested in any of the proceedings.
Mm.
Like later on, I was like, okay, this is happening now. It's going there now. So if you've seen films, first of all, I think I like the whole idea that it's an outsider's perspective and all of that. Okay, I am in with that whole fact. Like how it was in Article 15 also. So I think it's kind of a conscious decision that they were like, okay, it's an outsider's perspective, whatever. But don't make him stand out so much also in every place. No, like you shouldn't give him like a red color Jeep in the first place. I mean, anywhere you go, you'll see that red color Jeep everywhere. Like it's like too much.
Well, that must be a conscious decision, though, no? Like he's the outsider, like whatever. You think Anubhav Sinha is a
I don't
subtle
know.
guy or what? I mean, he's not
No,
that subtle.
he's not. He's that guy who's like shouting
His,
in your face and telling you, but
his
it's okay.
character's
I'm
name
just
is
like,
Aman.
I'm,
So,
yeah,
like,
I mean, he does that a lot, no? In other movies also he did that. He named people
I think so,
related to
yeah.
something.
So, like, yeah.
But like the way it's shot also, I wasn't really
You
like
weren't a
into
fan,
it
right?
either.
You said, yeah.
I wasn't a fan. I think even Mulligan is the DOP, and I think more or less everyone.
Oh, just a moment. I did not realize the Aman thing was kind of hinting at this thing. Like, this is stupid.
Realizations.
This was, I mean, I noticed it, but also I read Bharadwaj Rangan's review and he had also mentioned this. I was like,
But there's also that Veer Pratap. What is it?
This I did notice. Like the guy, the Uri guy, his name is Veer or something, right?
Major Veer or something.
Major Veer.
Major
So that's
Veer.
also very like whatever.
So typical, no? Like
labels.
you have like an army officer, his name is Veer.
Yeah.
So now Anubhav Sinha is being Yonar anarchic. Like he does not care about conventions of the Yonar he's treading into. He will do anything. Almost all of a sudden, the action thriller will become a parody.
I mean, yeah, that's so again, my point is it was
I mean, it's
something at
whatever.
that moment. So I was like, यही दे दो, कुछ नहीं दे रहे हो तो यही दे दो. But nahi, we should also talk about stuff that maybe worked, right? Because I think brief moments of this work, for me at least, they work. So Ashwani, you go ahead with whatever works for you and whatever you think is maybe.
Yeah.
So I already, specified the sequences that are disjoint in my opinion. So it's a problem of editing, I guess, because every time a very important sequence is occurring and you get into that serious zone, it is undercut by another sequence which is quite tonally different.
Yeah.
Right.
Correct.
So there is that problem, but then again, editing is not absolutely worse, because I also think that it works when it is trying to carry out multiple subplots. In brief sequences only, not always, but in brief sequences, it worked for me. So it was more like, it can remind you of Madras Cafe, the way it was
exactly
happening.
What I was going to tell as well.
Yeah. And I was fine with cinematography from a technical point of view, and I really liked some of the images. This creation of imagery that he's doing, I think I liked it.
You are not alone, Ashwani. I think there are some people, only the cinematographer here hasn't liked it. So I'm guessing he's the one who's more.
I didn't know if people liked it or not, because I hadn't read any reviews. And when I watched it, it wasn't just like very not pleasing to my eyes at all. Like, just felt very off to me, which I was I don't understand the geography of this thing or the sense of place where I'm at. Is what my problem was. And
I guess what is happening. You complete your argument.
No, my point was like, let's say, so with every film, let's consider Anubhav Sinha's filmography in the last 3 films. With every film, his style has also kind of changed, right? And the way the films are shot also has kind of evolved and like fit very contextually well.
Yeah.
I think if he's making like an undercover movie, his film shouldn't be shot this way. It should be shot as if someone is like spying kind of thing. Is what I feel.
That's the thing, but the film isn't a good I don't think it's a good investigative like it doesn't get that language. You're right.
Exactly.
Even visual language it doesn't get. Yeah.
Exactly. That's what my point was. And when it shifts to those interior scenes in the Delhi, I don't understand. I don't know why is it so yellow or like monotonally
it's
yellow.
Like a stylistic choice.
But when you shift to outside, when Ayushmann Khurrana is walking on that Rajpath road and all of that, then he's in a different zone. How does it match then? Like I'm just
I guess the yellow of the interiors is like contaminated room. I'm giving out
this
examples.
This is film school talking.
I'm trying to defend some decisions being made. Okay.
And that like the whole thing, it just felt very off to me how it was shot. So that is why I was.
Yeah.
And when I read everyone appreciated the fact like, oh, the cinematography was the only standing point. I was like, I didn't even like that. So I mean, I don't know. It sounds like I think I'm the only one out there. So I won't speak.
I'll tell you why I like the images in some portions, and that was because so this is a film which is overwhelmingly vocal, right? It is always speaking.
Yeah.
So when it is not speaking and when it is silent, and then there are images which themselves speak, then it has a certain impact, and it is also hard to register because it is almost always speaking, that somehow we tend to expect that it will speak something now. So one of the sequences that I would like to mention here is that entire elimination of that small Johnson rebel group, where that boy was there also.
In the forest, or is this like the burning down of the village? There's two, right?
In the forest only. They all get killed and they don't know who is killing them. That happens. There is no voiceover or there is no narration in that sequence. And when it ends with this image of people dying. Like, the consequence of violence.
It's also under a tree, so it looks like the like roots and all that. I mean, I mean, I appreciate all of that. It's not like
Yeah.
completely bad.
Yeah. That
No,
one
no.
thing, and also the idea that they get killed. This is the outcome of violence, but the genesis of violence is, kind of invisible. You don't know who killed,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So this is a sequence where no one is speaking, and this kind of works. I hope Sinha goes back to his film and realizes that you
He's
have to
turned
be.
down all the volume. And
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, I mean, I appreciate all of that. I mean, there is some merit to some stuff. I mean, I cannot outright reject saying, no, it's not good or whatever. It's just that I just didn't feel the whole feeling it was trying to convey because it visually never satisfied me at all. So, like how Ashwini said, right, Madras Cafe, I think that's like the reference point he should have kept to make that movie itself. Because I think in that way, Madras Cafe was like
They have
impeccable
a
the way it was
focus though,
shot.
no, right? They have a focus in that movie, right?
Correct. The way it was shot and it intercut into different narratives in Madras Cafe also, it works. Although I know it's focused and all of that, but there are like different schemes that are happening at different places and all of that.
Yeah.
Here, the dynamic of the relation is different, but at least they should have kept like certain tones at least, or I don't know. I mean,
No,
just-
it's true, right? Like I remember now I remember one scene where in the beginning, which is the Ayushmann Khurrana character introduction scene almost, not the one where he meets Manoj Baba, but like in the Northeast, he's introduced as this coke sniffing, whatever, almost 70s action hero character who's he's speaking dialogues for like free, like something agar main is jagah se agar mere paas solution nahi hota to main is jagah pe aata nahi, or something like that. I'm like, ye kahan se? Like I thought it was supposed to be like some rooted interaction, like very docu style thing, but like it's
Correct.
but then he's doing this dialogue bazi in the middle of nowhere, and I'm like, ye kya hai? Like I don't get it. I don't understand what tonality this is going for. So I found that very jarring. But there were a couple of edits that I thought were very interesting, or like there's in the beginning only this happened actually when she gets slapped at the party, Ido, and then I think then like she's getting slapped and she's silent, and the camera then cuts to her boxing. So it's whatever, like small juxtaposition, like she's taking out her anger there, and then there's then one very good moment, but I think it's not well, like I think they chose the wrong moment to like edit to, was where the children are there. This is the action scene where the children are there and the gunmen are shooting everywhere. Yeah, gunmen are shooting and they're shouting, and then it cuts to Ayushmann Khurrana laughing when he's at the cafe talking to other people. Like interesting moments, but like again, it's hard to like I don't think it's well cut though, that sequence also. Like I felt it was not that impactful. I hate going back to saying this is not a very good film, but like
It would have worked if with a J and L cut, like this crossfire, children crossfire, and then it is superimposed by this laughing track.
Yeah,
correct. And then it cuts to the image of the laughing thing. Correct.
Yeah,
but that doesn't happen. I mean, the other thing that I made a note about was I remember at some point, like Imtiaz Ali, I think right after
Imtiaz Ali, where did he come from?
No, wait, let me come to that.
Okay.
Jab Harry Met Sejal came out, like he thought he's being very, cheeky by putting as like a story point for like Anushka Sharma's character, that she's not gonna like break off her marriage and marry that guy.
Yeah.
But she ends up doing that. He does the same thing in another short film which he made.
With Pavel Kulati, right?
Exactly. But I thought like his self-awareness isn't aiding to the fact that he is self-aware about his, narrative. And I thought the same about the whole surgical strike also. Okay. Like, I know you're self-aware, but you don't have to like do it to like show that you are like... I
understand, yeah.
I mean, I wanted to, I forgot telling about this one. So I was like, this doesn't work at all, like the whole... And I didn't understand the whole... So I get it. He needs that dialogue bazi thing going on for his characters. But the dialogue which very says like, I work for the Constitution and all, I was like, what do you...
Where is this coming from? It's part, I think, performance, part screenplay, part like a lot of elements.
I don't think it's full screenplay only problem, screenplay dialogues. And after that direction, and I'll point direction also, because the way he directed some of the non-acting people, the people from Northeast, like some of them were fantastic. The guy who he goes to deal with in the beginning, I think he goes to buy some stuff. I think he was pretty good. He was pretty good. The girl's father was also really good. Ido's father, Johnson, basically the decoy Johnson. But the guy who plays Ido's coach was horrible. He was just shouting like, "How?" And I was like, "What are you doing?" Like, wasn't nobody pointing it out that he's like just like.
Sanjeet, you've not seen Jug Jug Jio yet. I will tell you there are much worse extra performances in that than in this film.
I mean, you're telling me I'm comparing Imtiaz Ali. You're getting Jug Jug Jio.
Exactly what I was going to say.
I mean, where is this coming
you began it. I'm just worsening it, but yeah.
No, my point is, I think the director's craft also shows when you extract like solid performances from like non-actors and there you have to employ that verite style and all of that, where you're like, where the camera is like just in plain sight, but your non-actors are just doing the job. Even in Jhund, I think, and that's like a proper narrative thing. It's not even like a docu kind of cinema as such. I mean, although it employs like a lot of techniques, but here some of the non-actors were like completely off. Like his coach was like, I was like, what is he doing? Because his pitch of acting was like somewhere else. Very like far corner. Like I was like, what are you doing? Just like come down. Like where are you? Like, and yeah. So I mean, disappointing. Like I don't know what I'll say more to it. Like because I think I've exhausted.
you are exhausted.
It's not cinema verite, na. He gave up that chance already when he should have done it like
exactly. I mean, Thappad has more of that elements and all of that, the way it's shot.
I mean, Thappad is a much better.
I mean, agreed, but like he's used that style, so you could have just like taken something that he's used before, so he knows that technique, that craft to employ.
I think he is going for that. Like the title itself begins begins with NE, right? He's going basically. I mean, it's a bit of a cringe moment when that happened. I was like, इतना obviousness तो चलो ठीक है, but like नहीं, but
textuality.
like ठीक है यार, वो तो फिल्म स्कूल में हम लोग को एनालाइज करने के लिए बोलते हैं, उसको इतना लिटरली नहीं लेना होता.
You तो contaminated the space, you don't talk.
Yellow lighting is used, I thought, for contamination in a lot of spaces. Anyways, no, my point is he is going full out, I think, which is admirable, I think, in one way, but it just falls flat in terms of dramatic.
He could have just used Twitter to do all of this, no? If he was like so, at least the audience there would have been larger than what eventually ended up watching.
So, you don't need to be that harsh, Sanjeet.
I am harsh just this once, okay? Okay, go ahead.
I think it does not work. What you are trying to say here is that because Ayushmann Khurrana is not actually writing a memoir or something. Like, is he writing it, or he's in a talk show?
Nothing.
So so he's not actually narrating this. And if you are like, if I think about spy thrillers or any action thriller, people have a cause of narrating life events in this philosophical manner only when they are recollecting themselves. Right, they cannot give first-hand commentary like I am going to on a red jeep to a cafe to establish Johnson and I'm giving the commentary there. So who are you talking to, right? So,
correct.
And this is for the convenience of audience, which is again goes back to the very old problem of Hindi filmmakers treating audience as stupid. And again, I'll like to establish this with very obvious thing as any. Is that when Manoj Pawa says that जनता की बात सुनी जाएगी एक बार और अगर वरना नहीं अगर सुनी जाएगी तो सबकी सुनी जाएगी वरना किसी की नहीं सुनी. So I understood what is the context of this. Now Ayushmann Khurrana was silent, but he has this compulsion to talk about it कि this one time it felt personal. मत बोलना भाई, मैं समझ गया. So I was like kind of feeling that moment was as obvious as this anything, like you were talking about from the title. And there are so many obvious things that are happening. So if you look at the film and if there are characters talking, you will never mind them. Like the Wangnao and Ayushman Khurrana dialogue where Wangnao talks about the otherization and the exclusion of Northeast from Indian subcontinent. That is brilliant. So when people are talking, it is always brilliant. It is only when Khurrana is
Correct.
lecturing
But
that
वो तो
kind.
it's really badly integrated also. That's why I said like
Correct.
लगता है कि they put it in post because because I think without that narration he doesn't have a arc.
Possible.
Like the arc is like Ayushman Khurrana's arc is made possible by the narration because he without that his performance doesn't give the impression that he's changed from a man who's
Correct.
morally conflicted to like no sorry from morally not conflicted to being morally conflicted. And the narration is basically doing everything to fill in the gap. So I was like, kya, like I mean, I hate to invoke this, Sanjeet. You can hit me after this, but a similar technique has been used in a very legendary movie by Francis Ford Coppola.
Okay.
Apocalypse Now.
Okay, I know.
It's much better effect, I think. So
I mean, it's okay. I'll let you go.
I'm sorry. I shouldn't have invoked that. But uska
No.
imagery, because it's in the Northeast and because there's like a lot of forest stuff and the voiceover is there, it evokes that film, even though it doesn't probably intend to do it, right? So like
Hostile territory and stuff like that. Maybe,
exactly.
right?
Yeah. So yeah.
Concluding thoughts?
One more thought before
Okay.
concluding thought, sorry.
Okay.
There's a moment where he breaks the fourth wall. Did you notice this? Or am I the only one who was hallucinating?
Which one? Which moment? I think
But
I did
this is
notice
one
it.
of during the chat with VT Chakravarti, I think that's his character's name, the actor's name, right? I
Does
think
he look into the camera and talk?
Yeah, he literally just like goes like this, and I'm like, wait,
What?
is this?
Okay. I know. Yeah.
I'm so like, if whoever is listening to this episode and has noticed this, please tell us if this is this actually happens, or was I so like distracted by everything that I was like, oh, he looked at me. I was like, whatever. But yeah, there is a moment where he does that. I'm like, why doesn't Anubhav Sinha directly do that like more? Doesn't the speechifying thing become more like a thing, like whatever? Because he's directly like addressing the audience then, right? So like, but yeah, weird. That's the only moment I was like, why is he breaking the fourth wall? Like, but there's a lot of that question.
You are anyway breaking the fourth wall, but you are not looking at the camera. So
exactly.
It does not matter even if you looked into the camera. So I was like, there are two things that I want to mention. That like, why did I like it, and why I did not like it. I just managed to not hate it, and why I do not agree with a lot of things that I have read coming from people. Like I read that this is a film that does not know what it wants to say. I don't get this reservation primarily because I don't understand why the audience have to put a film into this obligatory box where it has to have a say. You know what I'm trying to say is that for me, it is very easy that the central argument of this film is that people, everyone, all of us should be able to take into account diversity whenever we kind of start otherizing people. If we come across some individual who does not look like us, it is not a possibility that that person will always belong to other sovereign state or other ethnic group or other religious group. We have to take into consideration the diversity. That is the central argument which works for me, which I also understood. What I don't like of this film, and which I think which is why it does not work, is because like I was saying, there are multiple things that are happening in the film, and which is kind of enjoyable to me, but it has this compulsion of converging into one eventuality, which is trying to solve things. So it does not need to have that. Like I was liking it to that point, but then it goes into that problem solving mode where the surgical strike happens, and he goes and he also defies the order by saying that he will work for the constitution and all that. For a more admirable ending, what should have happened is that he's denied to go there. He cannot do shit, and Mangnao gets killed. Like
something
it happens
like
in something like in Madras Cafe.
Madras Cafe, exactly. The protagonist doesn't
Rajiv Gandhi
win.
died. Rajiv Gandhi died.
No, but
Spoiler alert.
That's what I was about to ask, Ashwani. Like, maybe I thought this ending actually was much more cynical than any other Anubhav Sinha ending before. Maybe that's why I was saying, like, I liked it more compared to his other works ka ending, because it promises or like gives the option that there is not a perfect happy ending.
No,
Because
but then it is not just that. No, it is also complemented by that Ido winning the boxing match and going to
Correct.
represent in Olympics.
That's
but
his
everything
moment
is-
from Article 15 where they are sitting at the side road.
but she is not triumphantly picking the flag, which is not a moment from Article 15. I think that is like the counter, and the last conversation between Ayushmann Khurrana and Manoj Pava ends with a but, rather than being like, oh, we've agreed.
Yeah. That's
So like I'm saying those minor things are something he hasn't added sometimes in his films. Like Mulk has a magical happy ending. I'm like, "Ye kahan se aa gaya?" Right? The whole film is so pessimistic. I'm like, what is this like last moment of happiness that's come through? Thappad again has the best ending, I think, especially relating to the Tapsi Pannu character.
And the
But
context,
but I think he's trying to do something, but I get what you mean. Like the ultimate condemnation of the Ayushmann Khurrana character is to make him a proper loser who can't change shit, because that is kind of, because he
ends
doesn't
up-
affect much in otherwise. So
But he ends up changing the entire thing.
exactly.
It is not possible in reality that you defy the order of your senior. That is someone who is an officer, and he's right beside you and asked to protect you. Like you are doing that for a sake of happy ending. Now, what I want to imagine is that the violence begets violence wala part was already established, right? So they should have killed Wang now in the surgical strike. Ayushmann Khurrana should have resigned for that matter, and it would have made the point. I'm not saying make it completely cynical. Like Ido can still win, and she can still raise the flag and all that. That can completely happen. So I was thinking that this convergence should not happen. You should not try to do this because you are an outsider. If you're trying to understand a problem, how can you come with the solution, right? So when Sanjeet was mentioning, I thought that this outsider's perspective is a kind of a conscious decision that you don't want to come out as someone who knows everything. But then you end up doing that on.
That's
Exactly.
Right.
That's true.
So the plot is very interesting if you look at aNEk. Plot is very interesting that state sponsoring group which becomes a mythical identity. And
I mean, that's why I think I quite like the trailer and all, because I don't usually watch trailers, but then I somehow chanced upon the trailer and I watched it. And the trailer was super intriguing, and I thought maybe I should stay away from it, because I think if I like read more about it or watch more interviews, they'll probably reveal more of the plot, which I don't want to.
I mean, I think at least Sanjeet and me, both of us watched it also after everyone we know had absolutely taken a big dump on it. So we were like, and both of us have liked his work, so we were like, I think
and both of us wanted to watch it also.
I
Like,
went in wanting to like it, to be very honest, like, because everyone had really not liked it, and I was like, itni buri nahi ho sakti, and it
exactly
itni buri nahi thi, to be honest. Like our fellow people have taken very
Amartya, had like a proper, like, Amartya was like, no, it's bad. I'm like, I'm not believing you only. I'll watch it and make my own opinion. I'm not taking your recommendation or word for it at all.
You stand with him only anyway. Like me and Dhruv are still discussing merits. Like you are on the other side.
No, but my problem is my problem is more to do with the whole film is lackluster only. No, it doesn't have anything that shines through for me. So, I mean, I'm not here to diss the movie at all, but I'm just talking about problems that really bugged me quite a lot. So usually I am the one in the podcast who's actually talking about the positives, like even though like in the worst of the worst movies.
There are lots going to be there's going to be lots more episodes in which I'm going to go on the other side again, so it's fine. Like once in a while it's fine that you are.
But I mean, I don't dislike it that much either. I think I'm more or less on the same page as you guys only. It's just that I think the things that I remember from the film are mostly the demerits, not the merits. So I mean, that says like a lot about the film. I don't know.
I mean, I don't know what to say. Like this film is like
Disappointing. No, what else? I think I am at least super
disappointing, yeah.
disappointed considering what the credibility he gained with Thappad. I feel he was on a different pedestal for me because I thought he made like a very, very well made film. Because I feel the kind of techniques and everything, I think I've spoken about this like multiple times. The style that he chose for Thappad, I think it was so good that I feel he's gonna like better it with like aNEk. And the kind of subject also what aNEk is, I thought fits that kind of style. But
I always thought that this required one or two more people to look at it and just compress it a little bit more to make everything stick
Probably.
together. And I think it's just him and maybe the writers getting overwhelmed with the richness of the material also. Like there's so
Probably.
much to talk about that you put
Probably, yeah.
everything and then it's like the whole more is less thing, which we've talked about so many times. Like so much narrative, so much character interaction, whatever. This ends
Usually
up
when you watch movies like these, no, like I feel this and like other films, like even Rangoon and all, I feel there's like so much plot. You rather make like a show out of it rather than like a
I think
film.
Rangoon is a much better film, but okay, I
No,
know I
I'm
stand
not
in how
comparing the
much
quality.
yes.
I'm not
Yeah,
comparing the quality of it.
I
I'm
know,
just
I know.
comparing the kind of narrative and the plot style that
I
they follow. There's
understand.
like multiple threads happening at the same time.
Yeah.
I feel it's more, and in today's times, I think it's more suited to like a show format where
Yeah.
you at least have the liberty to flesh out characters properly,
Mm.
live with them, so that by the end of it, you feel like have some attachment with those characters.
Yeah. Is it,
I mean,
what's the
something.
other? Has there ever been like other multi-strand films that connected really well?
They did well.
The
Vyomkesh
hyperlink
Bakshi.
thing.
Beyond
but-
Bakshi.
No,
Yeah.
but these are individual stories. All the hyperlinks only connect well when they are an individualistic story. The moment you go into that geopolitical space and then you try to connect it, it falls flat. Like I guess this was one of the problems with Syriana as well, although it still had some amount of individual characters having their own personal conflict.
Yeah. No, that movie is also confusing though. I know, like when I watched it the first time, I was a bit lost only. I was like, where
This
are
is
we?
George Clooney movie?
George Clooney and Matt
Ah,
Damon and
Matt
the
Damon,
guy who is in jail now,
What?
I
Okay.
think.
Kevin
No.
Spacey, who
No, not Kevin. No, not him. The director, I think. Who directed it? Is it
have
Paul
no-
Even I
Haggis
forgot.
or did he make that? No,
No, not Paul
No, okay,
Haggis.
he did make it. Okay, fine. Yeah. I don't know who directed it then. I forgot.
But anyway.
Anyway.
So I had this question with respect to aNEk from both of you. Like I read a lot of people have a problem with branding of any, not treating 7 or 8 states individualistically, but like going into this whole bracketing thing of NE. And the nameplates are NE and everything is NE. So what do you guys think about that?
I do think it's a double-edged sword, actually. I mean, the intent of it was something else, and probably the impact of it was something else. I think the whole idea was clubbing it together and like showing it as Northeast, according to me, was okay. Do you even know which place is this? Do you even know which place is this? It's like him questioning. Do you know where we are? Do you think this is Mizoram? Do you think this is Shillong? This is Gangtok? Do you know? So it's like we can't differentiate ourselves either. So we are like, so he's like, okay, now. So I think that is also like in a way him being on a pedestal and telling you, do you know all of that? But like clubbing it also made those places lose their identity, which are unique in their own ways.
Yeah.
So I mean that is also so it's a double-edged sword. I feel the intent of it was different. The impact of it was like completely opposite. So yeah.
Yeah, I'm in agreement. I think I honestly, I watched it. And, I was just looking at it today, and I was like, "Wait, did we ever get to?"
Oh,
know
you
what
asked today.
I asked you today. I was like, "Which place are they in exactly in Northeast?" And I was like, "Oh, they never mention, or
No.
do they ever mention? I don't know." And then I was like, "Oh, that." Then maybe that. Then I messaged you saying, maybe the project was conceived like flawed, like the conception only was flawed. Like maybe this can't be made into a Bollywood or blog, whatever, high melodramatic, whatever. This is where I come into acceptance with Amartya, which I hate to say, but yes, maybe he is correct in one sense that this shouldn't be conceived then, because like it loses a lot. It loses a lot.
Correct.
and see, you can't represent reality on screen.
Mm-hmm.
It is the complexities of reality in this format of filmmaking are very hard.
I think you should have fictionalized it even further, rather than like telling us, ki, oh, it's something that you know about or something. You should have like completely fictionalized, and then you would have kind of satirized or like metaphorically told us the whole story or the current scenario, political scenario. But I think since he stuck to that, that is I think where he also faltered. Exactly. He was in the middle of it. He should have gone to either of the sides and like chosen a path to making it. What do you think, Ashwini?
I am still thinking about it. Like, I'm so conflicted about this. It's not like I agree with you, Sanjeet, that it's the intent is fine. I also think that one reason is that he's trying to be economical. Like, he cannot talk about 7 individual states,
correct,
and 2 of which have very high, degrees of insurgency movements in Nagaland and Mizoram.
Correct,
right?
correct.
And then there is in Assam also the demand for Bodoland. So you cannot talk about every state individually. So that's why he's going for the economical solution. Then again, I guess there are political consequences to mentioning names of states, right? So, but then again, you cannot also do that because ultimately your native people, the natives will be speaking in their own language, and with language you can identify. At least if we cannot identify, at least those who know can identify.
Exactly, exactly.
I read somewhere that natives are speaking different language. So he has this multicultural group in that just to represent this entire block of aNEk,
Okay.
And I cannot differentiate between languages so finely. Like, I cannot say that this was Naga and this was some other language. Right. So even Assamese is still somehow recognizable due to some exposure, right? And but other dialects and other regional languages. So, I don't know. I mean, what he's trying to not do, what he's trying to do, what is the exact intent.
I think that was also another problem which I didn't mention yet, but the whole language thing, right? Like some of the characters, even though they belong to Northeast and are conversing with each other in Hindi, and the others aren't. So either you could have kept it uniform, or you could have just subtitled the whole thing and budgeted your film like with like less money or something like that.
Or you could have dubbed it.
Dubbed it, correct, something like that.
Yeah.
But like,
because that's the fashion now, right?
Yeah, I mean something,
But you have to compromise with some audience, right? You cannot go that way. Like, if you remember Diwakar Banerjee's interview where he was talking about making Byomkesh Bakshi in characters talking, he says that he is using Hindi as a channel only. Like, it does not matter.
Correct.
So everyone
correct.
is speaking in
and
Hindi.
it's completely consistent throughout. No, it isn't like someone just bounces off that accent also. There's no accent thing also happening.
Exactly.
It's like proper Hindi.
So you keep it like that, like make it consistent, or make it entirely like Son Chidiya, for example.
Correct.
Son Chidiya is entirely that.
Entirely. They had this, subtitled it at least in the theater which I went, and the whole dubbing.
Yeah, that film had like the saddest fate of whatever.
Yeah.
That is,
So this is something that I guess filmmakers need to think. These are filmmakers. Like, it's not a major problem in American films, as far as I have seen. If they go out, they make them talk in their own language, they subtitle it.
Yeah.
I mean
the whole
I think they
subtitle
do
thing
it mostly,
again
right?
comes in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, they do it mostly like what is like America mein kya hai? Southern accent and mainly like Eastern and North, like whatever. I'm just saying whatever I've heard, the Southern accent is the hardest to like hear.
Y'all got some balls talking about that. Do you even comprehend half the accent? Because I don't understand. No, the Southern, the Texan accent.
You kind of get used to it.
I do need subtitles for it sometimes.
और असली में जब बोल रहे होंगे तो थोड़ी ना बोलूंगा कि सबटाइटल्स दो.
अभी असली में थोड़ी ना बात करने को कह रहा हूँ मैं यार.
But yeah, वैसे भी
this reminds me of a meme.
Which one?
That when I go to Japan and the people are not speaking in subtitles.
Subtitles.
that SpongeBob guy was with his hand.
Oh shit. Okay, yeah.
Okay,
Okay,
transition time, is it?
yeah, no concluding thoughts. Concluding thoughts वही था क्या?
I think so.
Okay, done.
I
Okay.
think so. Okay. I don't know.
Disappointed. Transition.
कहीं ऐसा तो नहीं कि ये पीस किसी को चाहिए ही नहीं, वरना इतने सालों से एक छोटी सी प्रॉब्लम सॉल्व नहीं हुई. जीतेगा कौन?
So now, since we're talking about like northeastern states and a film which is based about, everything about there, we thought we'll also talk about a few films from northeastern states that have come out in the recent past, because I don't think so. At least I haven't kept a track to discover more of it, although we all of us would like to. But the current few films that represent the states or the culture better, and we'll just like talk about a few of them for like a few minutes, and which also serve as like recommendations at the end of the day, so that you should definitely check all of them out. So yeah, a couple of films. I think we'll go with the most popular one in the recent times, which is Amish.
Which I haven't seen, so you guys can fill me in on.
Haven't seen.
Yeah.
But Ashwani, what do you think about Amish and like everything? Little bit, but like non-spoilery, because this is more like a recommendation thing. So yeah, what do you think?
I think when I went for it and I watched it, I did not like the second half. I liked the first half and where it was going, and I really thought it would turn out to be about that only, like this whole romantic film. I was taking it in that way.
Correct.
It turned out to be something else which didn't quite work for me. So, but one important thing that it does is that it kind of exposes you in very subtle manner to the this whole culinary diversity of the region.
And correct.
Especially for North Indians from cow belt, such as myself,
and me as well.
So we need to be more tolerant and away from the stereotypes, because there are so many stereotypes that run in our family.
Yeah.
We very casually say these people eat that, these people eat that.
I mean, there's the whole dialogue in aNEk also, right? In the
dog tikka or something, right?
Dog tikka and all. I was like,
oh my God. I've never heard of that. Like, even coming from whatever, Marwadi family, I've never like heard of. I'm sure there have been other types of stereotyping, but like not that one particularly. Yeah.
There are. I mean, these stereotypes are quite casual, and at least I have heard in my family this assumption that those people can eat anything.
Yeah. Okay. On a broader point, wo hoega pakka, like as a stereotype here also that I've heard. Yeah.
So I was really happy, but for the kind of response it received in the circuit and how popular it became, like it kind of opened people into this restricted market. One major problem of Northeast cinema is that Northeast cinema is rich and it is big, but it does not find distribution here. Like South Indian films do find distribution in Delhi or UP and Haryana and Punjab, but those films do not find distribution. So I think that's also a big problem. Like I am in Delhi, which is capital region, and I see films coming from Punjab, from all the 5 states of South India, even Marathi films, but even Bengali films, but not those films, not any film from the 7 or 8 northeastern states.
I think Amish released for sure. I think I remember it. 22nd November or something like that. It was sometime around Knives Out, I remember.
Okay. Was it Mami? Is it Mami?
Sorry?
Released in Mami first or just directly to cinema?
I don't know about Mami, but I know
it was released in Mami, but it was also released in cinema. I watched it in PVR Delhi only.
Okay.
I didn't. I mean, it released in PVR where I was staying in Bangalore, and simultaneously it came out on Movie Saints also, I remember. And it was like you pay 50 rupees and if you don't like, you get your 50 rupees back.
Oh, wow.
So I was conflicted because I was like, theater jana, but I didn't have money at that time. So I was like, I'll see. But by the time I wanted to go, it was out of theaters and all of that. So I watched it like way later on movie, but yeah.
Mhm.
But at least Amis was the one, and I think all these Anurag Kashyap is the guy who's actually pushing all these films and all of that into mainstream. So he's that kind of voice. So I think from him only I got to know about Amish, and from Amish I discovered Kothanodi, which I guess we'll go to as well after this.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, when he pushed into it, then I was like, oh, this also exists. And then I searched Bhaskar Hazarika, the filmmaker, and he was also the writer on this Abbas Mastan movie called Players, which I was like, okay, that's where you began.
What? I didn't know this.
Yeah, I think he worked as like a script doctor and uncredited writer on like
Wow.
many projects,
Yeah.
and then went on to make like Kothanodi first, and then Amish
Yeah.
first, and then I think his new project is also coming.
Hmm.
But yeah, I think we also invited him on podcast, but like he was in preparation for his project, so he didn't come.
Yeah.
But like
Next
hopefully-
project. Yeah.
next project. But like, yeah, on to Kothanodi,
Yeah.
which me
I
and
saw
Dhruv-
as homework because I hadn't
As
actually
homework.
seen any film.
I
So I was.
absolutely loved it.
I know.
I mean, because I had no clue what I was going to watch. It's
Hmm.
just like the log line or the synopsis which was there on movie was like, it's
Yeah.
like folktale and all of that. Vagera, vagera.
Yeah.
But like folktale, I didn't expect it to be such like a horror film kind of thing.
You to
Or
must
like
have.
a
I
s-
can imagine you basically being like absolutely terrified by this. Like, I mean, I
Yeah,
was
yeah,
quite
yeah.
freaked out. Like, but like I
I
know
was.
you scare easy. So
Yeah. You know, I mean, I thought like
yeah.
full sensory experience happened to me. So I was like
I
full
can
enjoyment.
imagine. Yeah.
So, but like
But
I liked a lot of things in it, like the whole intercutting into different stories at the same time.
yeah.
It's like
But
it was super
that's
engaging.
that proves to your super deluxe fan. You're the favorite. That's another
Yeah,
favorite,
yeah.
and then there's everything everywhere all
Everything
at once.
everywhere.
Another favorite.
Yeah.
So yeah.
It's like a personal liking towards
Yeah.
like, that kind of cinema. But
Yeah.
like, even though it's like language I don't associate with, or I've never seen cinema from that region,
Yeah.
it was very easy for me to like decipher the story. I didn't have to like look way through into it.
I think it's the folktale probably allows it to be more universal than like
Correct.
specific, I think, right? Because a lot of
Correct.
it is, and I don't know, I'm not going to spoil the film, but I'm almost thinking it might be better to tell what the central theme is or like what the central connection is. Because I thought for the longest time while watching it that I was like, what is going, like I was a bit concerned about the interlinking. And
Same.
not in a way which was like, tension building. It was a bit frustrating.
Okay.
But it built up somewhere where I thought was like really great. So
Yeah.
I was thinking more Quaidan because that was my reference point of folk tales and like
Folktale horror and anthology.
exactly. I was like, that's why I was like, maybe for me something like that works better in anthology form, where you have 4 different tales and then all of them have like some thematic link. But either way, it's a great, like it's something you wouldn't have ever seen, which I think is
Correct.
something
That's
to be
like the
cherished.
best compliment.
Yeah. So
And I
even
too
the
was
filmmaking
completely-
techniques are like really unique. Like there's
Exactly.
POV shots of like I think he used a GoPro camera or somewhere, like in like
I don't know.
put it on like some
of the techniques were like, I was like,
yeah.
how did he even do that? Because I
Yeah.
feel that would have required some budget to at the end of the day to
And
finish
some
it.
of it looks really like grotesque and like really
Correct.
creepy. Like I've not seen that imagery in Hindi films generally, or like other Indian films. Like I've Tumbad is the closest, but that's nowhere near as grotesque as this. Like
But
this
that's
is
more
imagery.
expansive and all of
Yeah.
that. This is more like very
Yeah.
small and like intimate.
Like
kind of.
I'll take away like 5-6 images from this in my head for a while. Like I can't
Yeah,
forget a couple of things which are like horrifying in this.
Yeah.
But yeah, I got great performances also, right, by everyone.
Seema
This,
Viswas and Adil
Adil
Hussain.
Hussain is there, and then
Mm,
there's one more person. Forgot.
I don't know about much of the other cast. I don't remember much
Yeah.
of it, much of them.
Anyways, it was a very good experience.
Yeah. But what else did you watch? I think you watched
I
Village
watched
Rockstars.
Rima Das's Village Rockstars, which you haven't seen, but
No, I
Ashwani
haven't.
has, right? So this is, I guess, the more traditional
Nominated
what-
also, right?
submitted.
Submitted for Oscars, yeah.
This is what you would probably submit for the Oscars and not submit Kothanodi. Like I think that's the best way to like put it, which is not a dig at Village Rockstars. I like Village Rockstars, but like it is a very typically Oscar nominated film. which to be actually, I don't know if it is, to be honest. Like, it reminds me a little bit of Chloe Zhao's films, if that's a comparison. I don't know.
Is it because of the landscape or something of it?
It is like I'd noticed
Because
after
I've just
watching-
seen like a few images on the internet floating around, and they
Yeah.
look like those kind of images which Chloe Zhao usually prefers, like extremely wide landscapes with your characters.
bit like that.
and
I
stuff
wrote
like that.
after watching it, it's a much better evocation of place than people in it, which is kind of both a compliment and a problem of the film, I think. But yeah, I liked it, and it's remarkable in terms of how she is operating as everything. Like, she's the soul. If there is a term like auteur for anyone, it's for her, because she's doing everything.
She's in control for everything.
She's in control for everything. But like, I don't know, Ashwani, what do you think? Do you remember? You watched it a while back, right? So I watched it today, so I have a
Homework.
homework.
Yeah. I mean, it's been a long while that I watched it.
Yeah.
At that time when I watched it, I still feel quite inspired by Rima Das handling everything in the project.
Yeah.
I was not a huge fan of Village Rockstars, to be honest. I really liked her second film. Like, Bulbul Can Sing is great film, and it is very evident when you watch it. She's again doing most of the things.
Correct.
But when you watch Bulbul Can Sing, it's much more, it has a very controlled story, and it hits the right chord.
Yeah.
Village Rockstars is very chill. I remember I was watching it in Indian Habitat Center with my friend, and he kind of whispered to me, the shitty place we live here in, man. I mean, we wake up, see shit. These people are waking up to see so much greenery, water, trees.
I mean, see that this is the problem now, because like if someone sees it now, I can 100% imagine there will be the quote unquote, this is poverty porn thrown at this in some way. I don't think it is that. I think the film is very good. The most interesting thing about the film is the use of water, actually, because water, it's a place that floods a lot there. But like the first like half of the film, and the film, I compare it to Pathar Panchali, not in terms of quality, but in terms of how non-narratively it goes. Like, it at a certain point it forgets about its main narrative almost. Like, it forgets like what the main thing is, and it like just goes in its own direction, which I kind of like. But yeah, I think just landscape is prioritized a little too much over the people, and like it always like I'm always like dubious about it. Like, you're using real life actors, and then but you're like whatever. Like, it's still a very nice watch, and it's a very unconventional. It's not a typically there's nothing. I don't know if this is a compliment or
glamorous.
Glamorous to बिल्कुल ही नहीं.
Or like artifice.
Artifice भी नहीं है बिल्कुल भी. So yeah,
exactly. I mean,
take
it's a compliment.
it as that. Compliment. Yeah, I mean,
it's
sure.
Compliment
Like,
because this person Rima is like, it is very evident that the entire film is her personal experiences of doing it.
Oh, definitely.
So, place takes a very central role, like in a very ethnographic sense.
It does.
She is doing that, and establishing people in place and then allowing them to derive identity out of that place, and then expressing it in film. Like, Village Rockstar does all that very effectively. And this poverty porn thing was interesting, because when I was watching it, I did not feel it like that, because again, there are struggles, but they are not harping about their own misery. Like, there is a small group of children who
definitely
cut out a guitar from thermocol, and they make a band of their own. So all those things are happening, and it's very interesting.
No, I'm totally in agreement. I mean, what is the last? I can't recall the film. Whichever film I saw, which I thought was poverty, but like, I'm sure that's a complaint someone will throw at this now. Someone who is jobless, or like whatever. I don't care. It's fine, Sanjeet. That is all I have to talk about Village Rockstars, I think. But it's really nice. It's on Netflix, and as Ashwani said, the other film is also on Netflix, right? So Bulbul Can Sing, I think. So,
but that is great that some of the OTT platforms have picked up some of these films. Like, there is Crossing Bridges from Arunachal Pradesh, streaming on Prime.
Okay.
very lesser known film, but there it is. And there is Pahuna. So
Pahuna also.
Pahuna is on Netflix, I guess. But Pahuna is, I mean, technically, uh, Sikkim is a part of northeastern region as defined by Indian government. Although it is the 8th state of the region, it is not a part of the Seven Sisters. And Pahuna is Nepali Sikkimese, you know. And the director is not from the region. Paki Tayarwala. She is, I guess, I mean, she was in. I have seen her in Jhoota Hi Sahi as an actor.
Ah, she's
okay.
the wife of Abbas Tayarwala.
Possible, I don't know.
She's the
Yeah,
lead
I
in
think
it,
so.
right?
She's the lead in it. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Okay.
Pahuna is a very sweet film.
Hmm.
You should watch it. It is also because of the representation. Like even if the director is not
Isn't
from
from
the
the
region,
region, correct.
actors are there from the region, you know. And one major problem that I see with our Indian films, at least in Hindi films, is that it's not inclusive, right? So you will never see a northeastern actor, and especially not in a role that is not requiring to derive anything from their identity. Like a northeastern actor will be seen only when the person is northeastern, the character is northeastern. Otherwise, they will not be seen. The last actor that we remember,
Badhai though was pretty good that way, right?
yeah. So Badhai though is one of the, you know, this is one of the good things that character. I mean, then again, it brings representation, some representation. So this is the kind of roles that I would like to see. Then only we will be able to call that, okay, our films are becoming inclusive.
Correct.
So how many, if you recall or if you look at the filmography of Miang Chang, for example, even though he's not northeastern, he is either given those roles.
Yeah.
And Adil Hussain is not from northeast. I guess he's from Assam.
Yeah.
So that is one name, and then again Danny is retired, I guess now.
Yeah. But his son also started acting, but like I don't know much about him.
Yeah.
But yeah. But I think it's good, at least like how you said, they've been picked up by, you know, streaming platforms, or some recognition is happening.
Both
if
the
at least
Bhaskar Hazarika films are on Sony Live, I think.
Exact. Both of them are on Sony Live. And I think Village Rockstars is on Netflix. Even Bulbul
Village
Can Sing
Rockstars
is
and
also
Bulbul Can Sing both on Netflix. Yeah.
both on Netflix. Correct. So I
use
think
that Netflix thing for good for once, I guess, because there's not much good in it on it.
instead
I
of
mean, aNEk
watching
is
that
on it.
kissing booth.
but
But aNEk they shouldn't watch, no? Or maybe they should watch.
I mean, they should watch. There's a lot of unless you're like
they should watch.
Some dialogues are good though.
Like only for the dialogues, no? That you can watch on like Facebook also anyway. Somewhere they'll be floating around on some page.
क्या देखेंगे फिर इस साल का संजीत कुछ भी देखना भी तो पड़ेगा.
No, but like, it'll happen. I don't know. Maybe not. But yeah, I think we've covered like fair amount of films after like talking about aNEk, which you should definitely check out. So you can please follow us on queensdead.film podcast. You can on Instagram. Please follow us on Spotify and rate us on Spotify, which helps us to reach out to more people. Please follow Dhruv on Terminal Cinema on Instagram. You can follow Ashwani at Safed Syahi, if I'm not wrong. I'm saying it correct, right? Yeah, it's Safed Syahi. And on Letterboxd as well, the links.
I would like to be, followed on Ashwani Deshak ID.
On the handles will be.
We'll put all the
in the description, even the Letterboxd accounts. Please follow us. It helps us reach out to people. If you have any suggestions, please DM us on Instagram, or you can mail us. The mail ID will also be in the description. Thank you so much for listening and supporting us. Please look out for more episodes. Lots coming in for the please.
If we are kind of requesting listeners, then I would like to request them for recommendations on Northeastern cinema.
Yes.
Yeah, please do.
Apart from Hazarika and Rima, both of which are from Assam.
Of course. I mean, they are more known, but like at least if not seen by most people, they can be seen by like some amount of people. I mean, that's the intent. But yeah, I mean, this was the end of the episode. Thank you so much for listening. Khatam.